something is going to happen. I don't know when, and I know we've been waiting a long time, and I have always been super skeptical. But something's actually going to happen. I can feel it. I don't know what it is. I've put this picture here for you, friends. I watched Lost TV show. And this was YouTube and people whinging on Twitter and stuff. So I had no idea about anybody's opinion. I fell in love with that show. I love that show. I look forward to it. Every episode was a deep freaking mystery. And what I actually didn't like was, after it was finally done, I'd read critiques of it, and like years later, everyone would be like, well, that show sucks. So just to let you know, the premise of the show, this is the craziest part. It's the MH370 plane. This is the wildest part. I'm not making it up. There's a show. The show is, they're on a plane at the start. You should watch it, friends. You got time, man. I'd love to go watch. I should probably rewatch it. You're on the plane at the start, goes through electrical turbulence. They end up on an island. The island's mystical, magical, weird stuff. There's a black smog monster. There's these weird numbers and lines and characters coming, intertwining dimensions. It's wild. A lot of the stuff, though, the thing is, as people critique it over time, they say, oh, the director, J.J. Abrams, Mr. J.J. Abrams is just making stuff up. Oh, they clearly had no idea with this. But I'm just like, bro, I don't ever thought about that when I'm watching it. It's just magical and mystical. In the show, though, there are these numbers here, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. It just like keeps repeating over and over and over again. There's mysteries with these numbers. The guy who moved the 80,000 Bitcoin recently, they encoded those numbers in. Are they a fan of Lost TV show? Could be. Everyone was a fan of it. But when you watch it, man, it really takes you to this another dimension. And there's so many emotional scenes. I mean, there's this one part, friends, because there's this one part that this is just this one part in here. I'm not going to go through because I'd really like, you got time, man. If I could go back and rewatch this, it's awesome. But there's this one part that's his character. He's just pushing his freaking button. I forgot. He has to like push this button every 4 hours for something. Just like what? And then there's just like this thing. Why are you pushing the button? It's just like, I just don't know. Someone told me to keep pushing the button. And like, oh man, there's a lot of these twists and turns of the stories. But the thing is, it's funny, there's a meme now of Chud Jack. We're like so despondent. We're like, nothing's ever going to happen. But in the show, eventually, something does happen. I think with PulseChain, PDI pegging, all these things, I think something's going to happen, friends. But why I'm also showing you that as well is we're seeing some magic build up here where Binance made this post. It's in the shape of a heart. Okay, now obviously I've drawn the red line. Lights out, Binance is still bridging the glow to the party. So they've drawn a heart. But if you keep going, they've done connect the dots. With the Hyperloop, they had Altcoin. Is that what they're talking about? A Richard Hart coin? They're teasing stuff. They're building up. And, a lot of people, friends, might make you think about, why would any of this happen? Is this just is this a fan fiction mystery thing? It could be, man. We're just losing our marbles. But it would make sense, friends, because look, Bitcoin is captured. Roca Negra's in. They're in. The banks are in. Bitcoin people, they've sold their souls. They've sold their souls. There's no privacy on there. There's nothing. To get Bitcoin, you got to go through a fiat exchange, and the fiat exchange, everything's linked. They don't build anything on it for it. The CypherPunks are gone. There's not a single CypherPunk left on Bitcoin. They're totally gone. All right. If CypherPunks were like Bitcoin Maxis today, they would have never made BTC. They'd be lugging around suitcases of gold because they're just so against new stuff out here. The CypherPunk dream is basically CypherPunks, friends. It's about like, look, it sometimes has a theme of anarchy, but it's not. It's more like, hey, let's just build the life raft just in case. What's a life raft? Technology. Let's use technology here that it can free mankind and womankind, man and womankind. We can free them and liberate them. Those are the words of Satoshi, by the way. He said, let's use technology to free and liberate mankind. That's what he actually said. So what I'm going to do now, play some angel music here for you, because there's a lot of these themes going on here, and it would make sense for these people who are really care about crypto. Richard Hart, CZ, Vitalik. You never know, man. Like, that's why, friends, the MakerDAO and the PDI thing, I remember last year when I did more research, I researched, I saw what happened to MakerDAO. MakerDAO has basically become Soynet. MakerDAO, remember, MakerDAO makes the $1 currency. It's amazing. Remember John McAfee and Richard Hart speaking about it. But they've now sold their soul as well. They're introducing a blacklist function to the USDS Soy, and they're pretty much like no more part of that camp anymore. So it opens up a gap here for product market fit. And I'm not just talking about PDI itself. I'm talking about MakerDAO itself. I always imagine, I've never heard any rumors of this or heard anything. I'm just totally out of nowhere, but I imagine in my mind that MakerDAO, so I went out to ask Grok all about it. I go, hey, tell me how we make a DAO and the governing, the governance. And actually what happened is, I want to know why did they move anyway? Why? Everything's working perfectly. Why do that? No answer. The truth is, the higher-ups at MakerDAO who have the MakerDAO governance voting tokens, they've gone against the community, right? But they just have a lot of the tokens, so they go, what do you mean? We are the community. We made the tokens. It's our thing. So I don't imagine that a whole community who want to make a freaking algo stablecoin pegged to $1 outside of the US system, I don't imagine you guys want to just go like, suck off the US government and stuff. It makes no sense for me. Why do you all want to go cuddle up to BlackRock? This makes no sense, bro. Like, you're here because you precisely don't want to do that. So it rubbed me the wrong way when I heard of them going, guess what? We're going to go with all the big banks. We're going to put a blacklist function. It made no sense to me. So deep down, I believe that the people who really want to take this for humanity and mankind and progress us, they're not opening their mouths. They stay quiet, they stay silent, and what they're probably doing is letting go of their maker tokens or just leave them in there maybe just in case, and they're probably building something else. What is that something else? That's why the dream is this island of PDI. It really is the dream. No blacklist function out here, all right? So I imagine that is happening out there, but it might take time. So you're not going to know any of this is going to play out unless like these stories I'm telling you, you'll probably only believe it, and I'll only believe it myself if you see PDI like 5 cents to 10 cents. You're like, oh my gosh, maybe the prophecies are true. Maybe there are people who are real, like, CypherPunks who believe in freedom and liberty and all the values that Satoshi believed in crypto and Bitcoin, right? Maybe they are defecting from MakerDAO silently, a silent defection, and they're going somewhere else. But what is that something else? Maybe Richard's like, hey, this is how we have to do it. You need a cult within a cult. Maybe to say it like that, but this is how we have to do it, okay? We find a way to get this happen. You have the chain, you have PulseChain. They can't shut that off, right? You can't have, there's a blacklist function here. You can't shut that off either. And no one knows who we are. Because with MakerDAO, people know who they are. Yeah? So it could be it, friends. And like, look, I know if it goes over your head, I get it. It's complicated, but you can watch Lost TV show. You know what I mean? Like, the Swag Mog Monster, what's happening? John Locke is finally starting to walk. So all of these things, only like a genius billionaire with like a lot of time can think about it, right? Richard Hart. Only he could think about how we put this thing together. Because you and I can't. Because you're probably thinking about, hey, how do you pay your bills next week, right? But someone who's been rich and retired for a long time, they got other plans. Now, part of this journey, it gets more mystical and mysterious because you got stablecoin, super cycle, we got PDI. Then we have these mysteries, and then even a few people have messaged me and just DM me as well. Not just DM, but also publicly. Everyone's like, Somi, what's going to be the final boss to complete this story? Okay, final boss. Just to remind everyone, all right, shout out to my friend Greggy Boo, who's reminded me Richard Hart has launched DAI on PulseChain. It's a pump tires meme of it. Okay, so could this be the decoy? It could be. It would be funny. But it also could be psyops because the real decoy is going to hit harder, right? So whatever. But I'm just showing you that we've gone through the worst of the worst. PDI's gone to zero twice. You have stablecoin supercycle appearing. You're like, the prices don't match the fundamentals of the story, but it's really, really impactful at the time. And then, Caddy comes out, sends everything to zero. You have all these out here. But, You never know. There could be a moment where this thing goes up because all the PulseChain KOLs are finally in real PDI, right? They're finally in here. You never know. 10 cents, 20 cents. It could happen, man. It could happen. And then we load the final boss. Yeah, we load it somewhere there. And what I just imagine in my mind, the final boss is a Decoy stablecoin. Now, where did I get that from? Me, 18 hours a day, listening to the crowd. I listen to you and everyone else, and not just you, friends, other people. I've seen what they say. They go, yeah, Richard's making a stablecoin, but it's not PDI. It's another coin. That's the only thing I've ever heard them say, because they can't say this thing's going to go to zero because we're like, guess what? It already did twice. They can't say Richard hates it because guess what? We already know that, you know? They can't say the inflation of it is buckled and things and the supply goes up. Guess what? It already did. So we've survived all of that, literally all of that, okay? What haven't we survived? Okay, look, there is one turbo nuclear method, but you would be cutting off the nose to spite the face. The turbo nuclear method is my preferred method. Richard says goodbye and then deletes his Twitter account for 72 hours. I'm laughing. That would be one hell of a shakeout, wouldn't it? And he comes back and like, oh, hello, I'm actually back again. 3 days later, starts pumping it. That'd be funny. Be funny, man. That would be like an ultimate rug. Gosh, can you imagine for those 3 days? Zach XBT comes out, Plebitar, all the Bitcoin maxis. This is Matthew Cratter, makes a video. He's like, Richard Hart seems to have disappeared like we told you he would. He's gone. Goodbye. He took all your money, investors. You should have bought Bitcoin. BlackRock Bitcoin. That's what they'll all say in those 72 hours. But not only would he make PDI dunk, not as much actually. If you dunked it from here, no one's got to. You survived the worst, okay? It would make the PulseChain core coins have some sort of exodus. But I don't know if we'll do that. Like I said, it's cutting off the nose to spite the face. So that would be an extreme one. The other one is he's still there, but he says, hey, all you post, he notices, right? All the PulseChain KOLs are now in because there's more information that comes out that PDI is probably going to go to $1 up here, but then, there's a Decoy stablecoin FUD. Maybe Nine comes out himself, the boss himself, and he says, sorry, we can't actually peg. Because right now, NineIronCapital, friends, in all of his posts, I'll show you, he always writes PDI to $1 at the end of all his posts. He goes, PDI is inevitable, right? At all of his posts. PDI is inevitable. PDI to $1 is inevitable. He writes that. Look at this. See, PDI to $1. PDI to $1 is inevitable. He always writes that, okay? So it would be funny, the final boss, where he reveals the clock and he goes, PDI to $1 is impossible. Right? And then we'll have to get the big guns out, okay? You get the big revolver. You ever play Resident Evil, friends? When you get the Magnum, you got to save every precious bullet. You got 6 bullets ready to go. Get out of my way, zombie. I'm saving this for the tyrant. Pew, 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 pew. That's what it's going to be like. But I think, friends, we'll get more of the swords and stuff and we'll have some fun. We'll crank it out. So during that time, we will be celebrating the next phase while crying. This price will probably come down. You know, going through all of these as well, friends, I wanted to just throw this out here. I really do. This hurts to see. I was hoping this picture was AI, but it's actually not. It's actually BitBoy. BitBoy in jail, rocking the Santa beard. Oh, man, just hurts. I got to remind you. I hope he gets out okay. I think he threatened the judge. I think he started exhibiting signs of delusion, where extreme paranoia and delusion, where like everything's conspiracy, everyone's out to get you, right? This person's lying, and then this person is just like, you know what I mean? Like for one of them, this was the funniest one actually. He did the grand reveal on Crypto Banter, Randy Boo. And his grand reveal was that Crypto Banter, Randy Boo, was running an elite pedophile child lollipop ring, if you know what I mean. You know? And I'm sorry, I know, Rand, when you're targeted, like Rand was I remember when Rand, he was like, what? I was laughing. I was actually laughing. I was like, well, Rand, never would have picked it, right? In your spare time of making a 1.2 million subscriber YouTube channel, doing like 18 videos a day with all these workers that you employ, somehow you're running a world's elite pedo filet ring. So it was just kind of like just a sign of like, okay. So, because everyone was like, oh, who's this guy? Carlos Lopez, whatever his name is. Are they really out to get him? And then he's like, was running a ring. We're like, okay, I think something's going on. So just a tale to remember, friends. My heart does go out to him. He's lost everything pretty much. He had 30 million in his crypto account at the 2021 bull market height, and he had the BitBoy business and everything. Then all after one after each other. Okay, the company backstabbed him. He hired, because Ben, this is the thing, Ben, just learn this for life. Ben was an ex-addict, so he's comfortable with people who are a bit rough around the edges. You know, people used to be homeless, used to be ex-addicts and stuff out here. And look, that's okay. I do believe in second chances for people like that. The thing though is, when you give 5 people second chances, you got to remember, not everyone's going to do well with it. One of them, they're going to go flip on you and they're just going to take everything again. They're going to need like 9 chances. So if you keep giving people second chances, eventually one of them just comes to bite you really, really hard. And that's what happened here. So if you look at the types of characters he hired for the company, some of them, you're just like, man, if there was one of yous, okay. The problem is, you look at all their stories and you're like, oh man, like you used to be homeless, you used to live out of home. Like it just, like a lot of them are like, oh crap, like it just, yeah. And then they did the conspiring to basically get him out of the company, take the money. But yeah, I'm sure he's complicit as well, because he started gambling with the funds. It was just a spiral, right? So they all backstabbed him. And then he started gambling online, obviously leverage trading and stuff like here. Then he left his wife for his mistress. So he probably, you know, he'd been with his missus his whole life. He had kids with her. And then, you know, he just, it is what it is. I think he lost a bit of weight. You know, the chemicals in his body is reacting differently. He's like a kid in a candy store. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, so he leaves, goes with his mistress, Cassie. And then, oh man, I knew it was over. Cassie broke up with him. That's when he disappeared, because she said we broke up with it. And then I remember I made my video. I was like, Ben, she broke up with you, bro. It's done. You got to move on, Habib. You got to move on. And when I said that, some of you, I know you're looking out for Ben, you messaged me saying, you actually say in the comment section as well, which I love, YouTube comment section. When the freaking bots get around the filters, I don't like it. But when you message fans, I love and appreciate you, okay? Do my best to get rid of all those bots and those scammers. So a lot of you started saying, no, Somi, she said she didn't break up with him. She's just taking a break. And I'm like, oh, my sweet, sweet, innocent child. My gosh, so young and innocent. You're like a first cycler in altcoins. Like you think these things are going to go up? Oh, so sweet and innocent. You got a lot to learn about life, brother. Yeah. Friendly relationship advice, brother. Once the vase is broken, don't even bother gluing it back together. All right? If you need somebody to play Game Boys with, I got you back. We got a USB cable. We can trade Pokemon. All right? So that's how it all spiraled. And then she backpedaled. She ended up saying, no, we didn't actually break up. And then I was like, no, you're doing the girl thing where you're guilty because he's going to harm himself now. So you're saying to him, no, I'm not the reason why you're about to end your life. I'm not the reason. Because that's what he threatened to do, right? And then he spiraled after that. Now he's in jail. So it's a good lesson for you, friends. Look, I know what's a lot of lesson. Like, what can I possibly tell you? What can we tell ourselves? Oh, don't go thrashing your body with illicit substances. Don't start up a business and then hire a lot of shonky people. Set up your business with good legal things. Like you can't, there's too many things. You're going to forget all of them. Like all I can kind of tell you to do is 1, confirm friendship. 2, if you make money, do me a favor. Find a way to put it into real estate. Okay? Why? Because you can't sell it in 2 seconds. That's why. All right? You can't click yourself into bankruptcy fast. Now, what does real estate mean? I'm not saying go buy 15 mansions. What have you made a bit? Okay, just try to use that for a deposit. Find the way to get it. I don't care if your growth rate isn't the most amazing thing in the next 10 to 20 years. You can only afford a unit. Whatever. I don't care. All right? And you shouldn't care either. put it there because, man, when it rains, friends, in crypto, it's not just raining. It's thunderstorming. Then your pants fall down. And then, like, the hot 18-year-old girls are walking by. You know what I mean? They're just, like, fresh out of high school and stuff. They're now 18. And they're like, ha ha, look at his small willy. And you're like, no, but it's raining and it's cold. All of that happens at the same time. Then the bus drives by the street and it's right next to the gutter. And then it just splashes you with all the water, right? There's always that part of the movie, right? And then someone who literally looks like a 48-year-old virgin walks by and he's like, ha ha, look at that loser. You know what I mean? Like, and then like Nelson comes out from Simpsons, ha ha, and like everyone's laughing at you and pointing at you, and then like, someone walks by, they feel sorry for you, give you a fortune cookie. You open up the fortune cookie and it says, you're a loser and you got a small willy, and you're like, oh man, you know what I mean? That's crypto bear markets. Okay, that's what happens when everything goes down. So you got to protect yourself against that. Okay, so that's pretty much. You want to know what the past 4.5 years has been like? It's like that, and they're like, ha ha, I still can't see your willy, and I'm meant to be magnifying it. So there's that's pretty much what we've gone through. Yeah, man. And if you're a lady, you go through it as well. It's kind of funny, friends. I just love. Girls just live different lives to men. It's just, it's quite amazing. With girls understand this. You know what's offensive to a girl for females? When other girls, this is what they know they're doing this. They're very passive aggressive. They do this. They'll say to one of them, they'll say, oh, what's wrong, babe? You look sick. But they know the girl's not sick. She's just not wearing makeup. And she knows that. Right, that's how they get at each other. It's totally funny. If you're a guy, you probably never think anything like that. You're like, hey, but you do look sick. You're red around here, but you don't know she's not sick, bro. You just normally see her with a bit of foundation and makeup. She just has no makeup. She's like, no, why is everyone saying I'm sick? So, man, going through this life, friends. This is it. We're all human. We're all making it. But look, just please remember, BitBoy. I will be reminding you at the tops. Try to put money in real estate, man, because they're illiquid NFTs. You can't sell it in 2 seconds. What a tumultuous tale out here. So remember, though, how we started this whole video. Something's going to happen, okay? Something's going to happen. The powder keg's going to blow. We're all going to make it. Like, subscribe, Billy Button, all. Catch you soon.